Oh, it's right to.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the last 40, it's 40 days before Rosh Hashanah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'achol b'dvarim.
Amen.
And the Rebbe always used to talk about the Kabbalah Yerushalayim that would start saying Sivach from the Kodesh and Zukkah from Chav Av. We already did the Birchas HaKodesh. Amen. So we wanted to do something special project L'Kovid Yom Neiroim. Never going to do the whole Meseches Yoma anyway. And I can't say never, but the Mashiach will come, and we'll have a lot of time, and we'll go through methodically every Masechta. But I mean, this is not like the first Masechta we're going to be picking. But the last Perek is all about the practical things of Yom Kippur. I'm not sure we're going to do the entire Perek. We're trying to move with considerable speed. I'd like to do that Tuesday night. We do the Gemara, and Wednesday night we'll do the Shulchan Aruch on this Gemara. And as usual, everything in Torah, sometimes the deepest lumdus, but it really comes down to it does. Every lumdus has a difference. It does later come down the mites and the halacha. For example, the Mishnah now starts with Yom Kippurim, the 5 things that it's also. There's a discussion in the Rishonim. Tosfos later are going to say in Daf Ayin Zayin, we'll see it. Rabbeinu Tam says that even though we're now going to go through a daf and a half, close to 2 dafim, where we learn from Sukkim, the 5 Inuyim, but besides the Chilu B'Shtiya, he says the other things are also only the Rabbanon. He says, why? How do we know that? Because we see that the Rabbanon said all kinds of rules in this mission itself. Akala is exempt, Achosnan, Melech. When you wash, it's different if you wash l'shem tainug, if you're washing mamish for pleasure, or you're washing just to clean off dirt that's on your hand. On Yom Kippur, you're not allowed to wash for pleasure, but if you have dirt on your hand, you went to the bathroom, you come out of the bathroom, you're allowed to wash your hands to get the dirt off. Not only your hands, any part of your body. If you have dirt on it, you're allowed to wash it off. So the Rebbeinu Tam says, if the Torah said you're not allowed to wash, you're not allowed to wash. So is it raya that the other Inuyim are really the Rabbanon? And it doesn't really, from the Gemara we're going to learn, as you'll see soon, it doesn't really sound that way. The Ran, right in the beginning of this Perek, argues in the Rabbeinu Tam. He says, no. He says the 5 Inuyim are all also min HaTorah. True, Kodesh is only for Chila V'Shtiya, but they're all also min HaTorah. The first page, the very first page. Very, very first page. It's all also, the Torah says you're not allowed to. When we see that the Rabbanon made exception for a chosn, for a kala, for a mela, if you have dirt on your hand, you're allowed to wash it off. That's something else. It's the Torah said that you have v'nisames nafshosech. You should go through a painful day. The Gemara is going to talk about it. What does it mean, painful? Maybe it means that we should go on the scorching sun and not open an umbrella, sit there whole day on the beach, go to Coney Island, sit on the beach, scorching hot, and if it's freezing cold, stay outside and take off your jacket.
So come on.
The Gemara discusses it and says, no, it can't be, whatever. Obviously, needless to say, but sometimes it's important because the Rambam does say it, so I can't say it needless to say. The Gemara, a lot of times, like in this Gemara, the Gemara is going to go through a daf and a half more, proving what are the 5 things you're not allowed to do in Yom Kippur. Psuk in my head. Now, like, think for a moment. Do you think these psukim are really the ones that are teaching it? The Rambam, it's not like Yom Kippur, like about other things. The Rambam says it's not a pshat that these psukim are teaching us. After Matan Torah, when the Yidden were in the desert, the first Yom Kippur, you think they sat there with the psukim and they read this pasuk and that pasuk? They all came, and Moshe Rabbeinu said, "Listen, Avoisa, this is how it's going to be." Avoisa had zachayin Yom Kippur also bachilu b'shtiya b'rechitza b'sichel and atzinu b'tash b'shamita. Someone in the crowd picked up his hand and said, Rabbi Moshe, what happens if I have some dirt in your hand? You're allowed to wash it. It's clear in my mind that that's the way it is. Just like the Rambam says, like other things. Elamai, the Rabbanim wanted to show you that it's really also in the psukim. It's really also in the psukim. Huh? Could be usually the Sadoidas, they forgot. But the Rambam says, look at the other things, it's not really the Sadoidas. The Poshet that Rabbanim wanted to show also in the Psukim, but this other Poshet that the Yidden were in the Midbar, that's the way they kept Yom Kippur, and that's the way Midor Achador, the Rabbanim wanted to show you in a Poshet. Now, there is a beautiful concept that we have several times in Shas. The Chasam Sofer has the big Hochanet, Lagabi Chol HaMoed. Torah says don't work on Chol HaMoed. Torah never described what yet do and what not do. All of a sudden, there's a whole formula. Davar Ovid, not a Davar Ovid. Tirche Eserta, not Tirche Eserta. It almost sounds like it's a Rabbanon. So the Rishonim saying that some Sefer has a big koch in the Masechet Moed and some none. The Torah said we want Chol HaMoed, you should relax. What does it mean to relax? Does it mean to take your kids to Disneyland? How exactly do you quantify? And what's if this year I'm not in the mood to take my kids to Disneyland? So I didn't relax. What's the Haggadah of relaxing? So the Chachamim, the Eibishter gave it over to Chachamim that they should fine tune. So Chachamim said, look, if it's a Dover Ovid and it's not a Tirche Eserta, take care of it. But if it's not a Dover Ovid, or even if it's a Tirche Eserta, stay home. Same thing here. Torah said that there are 5 things that are also in Mitzad Inu. The Eibishter left it to Chacham to fine tune it, to explain to us. So you're not going to be Roiches. Torah didn't go into the details. The Torah left it to Chachamim to quantify to us. It's an exception. Not every most mitzvahs we don't say that way, but that's what the Ran says in the beginning of this Perek. That Chachamim now came and explained to us. They said when the Torah said not to bathe, it meant if you want to go to the banya on the Russian banya on McDonald Avenue, no, not there anymore. No, it's not anymore there. Oh,
there's a small banya over there.
Oh yeah. So if you want to go to the Russian banya, no. But if you have some dirt on your hand and it's not Latino, you want to wash it off, that's not what the Torah meant washing. That's what the Ran says. Lapoil, so the 5 inuim besides, the 4 inuim besides Achil B'Shtiyah is also. The question is that Rabbeinu Tam says also the Amor, and the Ran says it's also the Raisa. What's the difference? So the Mishnah Berurah says the difference is if you have a suffix. I'm standing at the sink. Is it really the dirt that's bothering me? Is it really the dirt that's in my eyes that's bothering me, or I can't stand the oily face I have, and therefore I want to put a little bit of water on me? Which one is it? I can't decide. So if you held like that, it's a suffix that I want to look. If you held like that on a suffix that I said the Chumer, the Pauli says you should be mach. Tomorrow we'll learn the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch, and it seems that the Alter Rebbe accepted the Ran Lehilchas Mamish, that it's really the Yurais. Anyway, this is a little bit of an introduction. I hope we'll get a little further into the Gemara. I want to get to a very Geshmak Inyan that has to do with Achil B'Shtiyah and Yom Kippur and how we learn it from the Mon, which is this past week's parasha. Okay, so let's start. I want to thank very much Yoel for taking the initiative, and this is a big Gemara.
It's even better.
It's big.
It's better.
It's the bigger the better.
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. How did you print these?
Fantastic.
Oh my God.
Great work.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I saw your son.
Okay, let's go. Yoma Kippurim, Masurim, also Achila B'Shtiyah. Achila B'Shtiyah is, by the way, 1. Rechitza, Sichen, Nilas Sandal, Vatash Mashamita. These are the 5 things you're not allowed to do in Yom Kippur.
What's a sandal?
To put on the shoe.
Oh.
Melech V'Akala, king, which the pasuk says, Melech B'Yofi Techazani Anecha, that the king has to always look nice. The kalash has to be pretty to her chos. So it's the name they should wash their face. The achaya, and the woman that just had birth, sometimes the feet are very cold. In order to warm them up, you need something very warm, and leather is it insulates the foot very well. Tina la sandal, she's allowed to wear a shoe. Shabura has it now, brings a nice pshat. He says achaya means the person that's giving birth to a baby, that she shouldn't run with flip-flops or Crocs, but she should put on good shoes when she has to run to the other end of town to make sure that she gives birth to the baby.
Rabbi Hamelech has to look nice. We don't say that Talmidei Chachamim always has to be nice clothing and look nice.
It's not the same level.
Not
The pasuk says by Yecheskel. Look at Rashi. Yom Kippurim also b'Achila v'Gemara mefarish kon hani ikru inu v'gam Yom Kippurim hey nuim ksivi. It says 5 times the pasuk in different times in the Torah. It says 5 times inu. V'ani hey have. And in the Mishnah, we have 5 things. The Shtia B'chlal Achila, because Shtia and Achila is one. Melech Zakrashi Darke B'shiv Chalias Nosh. And it says in the Pasuk, Melech B'yofyo Itachazena Einach. Dave said to the Novi Yeshaya that he's not going to go on Golus, like some of the Yidden that already went to Golus. And he said that you will be Zoicha to see Chizkiyo HaMelech in B'yofyo. But from the Pasuk we learn that there is that when you see a melech, there is you're supposed to see b'yofyoy. He's supposed to be beautiful, and so a melech has to make sure to bathe and to take a good haircut and to dress nicely on a higher level even than Talmidei Chacham. Once she's already, her husband loves her. Okay, they're good. They're married for 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. The mitzvah Shem is good, but in the beginning. Kol shloishim yom l'chupasa he kruya kala.
Not Shana Rishona?
No, 30 days.
30 days.
Yeah. Chaya is your ledis. No. The shaila is what Rashi meant. As I said, Rashi said your ledis, but Pashut Pshat means the woman that gave birth. And the Mishnah Berurah brings up Pshat. No, your eldest, the woman that's the midwife, she has to run to the other end of town. She'll walk with flip-flops. So chamamata for her to wear regular shoes. I hear. Saying it makes him a stab with that pshat. Because then why is one thing? All 5 things. Shemut b'achila, shemut b'shtiya. If she needs rechitza, shemut b'rechitza. I hear. Taket, Mishnah Berurah says that Yoldus means not the woman that had the baby, but the woman that's the midwife. Tino is a sandal, shatzina koshela. See, from this Rasha, tzina koshela is mashma that it's talking about the mother. But he brings that there are rayas in Rishonim that it means the midwife. Divrei Belezer, akula koi. Rebbe Lezer says that all that Akala, Amelech, and Achaya. And the Chachamim is Oysenim. They answered on all 3. Now Lochil Apel is like Rebbe Lezer. Okay, let's go back in the Mishnah. A person eats as the shear of a date, plus it's the volume of it. It plus its seed, however big the volume of a date is, that's considered eating on Yom Kippur. How much you have to drink? As much as it can fill up a cheek. All kinds of foods go to the shear of one date. All drinks start from to a full cheek.
One bit is nothing. Small bit.
So we have to get into what's exactly the shear of a date. But obviously it's bigger than a zayis, but it's not so big. Food and drink aim at starving. They don't get together to one shear. So the Gemara, we said in the Mishnah, there's 5 things that are also in Yom Kippur. Also, you tell me it's also Einish Kodesu. It's it's not just also. It's Einish Kodesu. I'm gonna be we're talking about when he ate only a chatzi shir. We can't give him Kodesu. This is good according to the opinion that chatzi shir is also. So according to the Birchim, it's good. Chatzi shir means like whatever the shear is, we ate half the shear, or 3/4, paid less than the shear. Like if usually in the Torah the shear is a kazayis, he ate a half a kazayis. Chaylev, dam, saying why did the Mishnah use the expression also or lachayid? It's more than just also. It should say b'yom kippur chayev kodesh im ochel shasa v'chulum. So the Gemara is answering because the Yom Kippur it's not only that there's a problem if he ate more than the shear and then he's 5 kodesh. Also when he ate less than the shear, there's still a issur. Therefore, the Mishnah uses the expression Yom Kippur Osur B'Achila to emphasize that not only if you ate a full plate or half a plate, not only if you ate a full Kaiseves, the full date, or even a half a date, is also awesome. That's why the Mishnah uses the expression also to emphasize that even to eat one crumb and to drink a half an ounce is also awesome. Zog the Gemara. Our Mishnah is very good according to Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says even a half a sheet is awesome. According to the Shlokish, he holds its mutter. So the Gemara, Moide Shlokish, awesome at the Rabban. The Shlokish is Moide that it's awesome at the Rabban. So therefore, you could say that it's awesome. You could say it's a Yom Kippur is awesome because with the Rabban at least it's awesome. So the Gemara, I'm going to go out in a little bit of a exercise over here. So the Gemara, according to the Shlokish, if you're going to tell me that it's awesome with the Rabbanon, there should be a problem when it comes to Korban Shvuah. What's going to be the problem? Tanan, we learned, Alomat Nan, we learned.
What's Korban Shvuah?
What's the Korban Shvuah? So we'll explain. Alomat Nan, we learned. Shvuah shelo yoichel, a person makes a shvuah, he says he's not going to eat. Makes a shvuah, he's not going to eat. Ve'achel, what did he eat? Nevelis, trefish, kotzim, ramosim, chayiv, shimon, and poit. And the Gemara asks, Amai, why is it chayiv for a carbon for transgressing a shvuah? What's the question? The Chazal had a simple question. We know that ain't Isur Chalal Isur. Most of Chazal hold that. Not everyone holds that, but we pass in that way La Loka. Those are learning through Rambam. We just learned it last week. There's a rule that ain't Isur Chalal Isur. If this is already Asur, it can become double Asur. It became, if, for example, a person made a shvu, he's not going to eat it. He's not allowed to eat it. If he makes now a second shvu, I'm not going to eat it. If he eats it, he doesn't get 2 times malchus. He gets 1 malchus. The only time when he'll get double, a triple, a 4 times, a 5 times malchus is in a complicated case. It's an Isser Moisif, an Isser Koilul, Isser Basachas. There has to be that there is something that will make, if this is forbidden, it's forbidden. You can't make it double forbidden. How can you make it double forbidden? It's already forbidden. So if a person makes a vow, he won't eat. Okay? If he eats, he gets punished. And he has to bring a korban for making a shvuah. But if he ate nevela, he already, when he was a Har Sinai, he made a shvuah that he's going to accept all the mitzvahs that the Eibush said. So if he didn't know that he was at Har Sinai, we know that every Jew was at Mount Sinai, and Chazal accepted that every Jew made a shvuah at Har Sinai, that he will accept all the mitzvahs. Hein, lav, you will accept all the mitzvahs from the Eibush. So now he ate a kazayis of nevela. So he gets punished for nevela, but the fact that he made a shvuah to beg a korban shvuah, ain't shvuah chol al shvuah. So that's what the Gemara's problem is. So Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yochanan and the Amri, the koil dvarim amutonim and dvarim asmasurim. What's talking about over there is that he said he's not going to eat, and he specified several things. He's not going to eat. He said, I'm not going to eat a loaf of bread, and I'm not going to eat ham and cheese. It was all part of one shvuah, and that's an Isser Moisef. Isser Moisef means when there's something that part of the Isser, he's allowed to eat a loaf of bread. So when we say migud, because the shvuah, he could, loaf of bread is kosher, right? If he says, I'm not going to eat the ham and cheese, the shvuah is nothing. It's already also from anyway to eat the ham and cheese. But if he says, I'm not going to eat the cheeseburger in the bun, but the bun is kosher. So because the shvuah is chal on the bun, the shvuah is chal also on the cheese and on the ham. So that's what's talking about. That he made a shvuah, and in the shvuah there was dvarim mutarim. Shlokish Amar no. Yet a moitze ela b'meforish chatzi shir v'ali b'derabbanon. It's by a shvuah, and he said, I'm not even going to eat a half a shear. I'm not even going to eat a half of the shear. I'm not even going to eat a half a kazayis of ham. So now he ate a half a kazayis of ham, so he's chayiv. Ois bestama, valibe the Rebbe Akiva, we're talking according to Rebbe Akiva, the Omar Odom Oiser Atzlam B'Kol Shu. Rebbe Akiva says that if a person makes a shvua, there is also even in a single crumb. But what we see from here is that that at least according to that we see over here, at least according to Chachamim, that that Reish Lakish said that the Chatzi Shir would have been a Chatzi Shir would have been mutter. Chatzi Shir would have been mutter. It's mashma that Reish Lakish holds that the Chatzi Shir would, because if it had been also even the Rabbanon l'chayda, the Shvua should not be chal. I want to go a little quick, so let's look at the Rashi and Daf Ayin Daled Amud Beis, the first Rashi, in the last few lines, in the last 4 or 5 lines, where you see who did Nama Meseches Makas and Shimon Kol Shul Makas V'Loim Kazais and Korban. Is Virle Reish Lakish a Chatz Shir also in the Rabbanon? If Reish Lakish would hold that a Chatz Shir is also even the Rabbanon. Heichi Mukelo Lo Detoni Chayev Kazai Chatz Shir Varei. At this point, the Gemara thought when the Rabbanon say you're not allowed to do something, that's also Nishba Masina. The Abish said you have to listen to the Rabbanon. And if the Rabbanon said you're not allowed to eat a half a kazayis of ham, you're not allowed to eat a half a kazayis of ham. So what is it going to help that he made a shvu? He's not going to eat a half a kazayis of ham. But the Rabbanon already said you're not allowed to eat it. That's what the way the Gemara was thinking at this point. The Gemara is going to change soon. The Gemara has the right to think so on the Havamin. If the Chacham say you're not allowed to eat a half a kazayis of ham, you're not allowed to eat it. What is it going to help to make a shvuah now? The Shlokish said that how come his shvuah was chal? Shvuah was chal because it was a half a shear. But the Rabbanan said you're not allowed to eat a half a shear also. Okay, if you so the Acharaya, the Shimon doesn't hold that way. Let's read a little more in the Gemara. So the Gemara. And if you're going to want to tell me, which is what the Gemara is going to say at the end, that because min HaTorah at least it's mutter, so the shvua is chal. If you're going to tell me that, again, that's what the Gemara is going to say at the end. Because min HaTorah half kazayis of ham is mutter. So therefore the shvua is chal. But now we learned in the Mishnah, shvua se'edus ein an hekes elabuduin loy. That the person said, could you come to the Bezdin? He comes to 2 people, could come to Bezdin. You saw the accident that happened in E17 and J. I was in it. I want you to come to Bezdin to testify in my favor. So you guys are not interested in wasting your day in Bezdin. So I say, I make a shvua that, so you say, now you're going to make a shvua that you know, I wasn't there in the corner of E17 and J at 7 o'clock. I don't know what you're talking about. So if it's a lie, that what you said, you have to bring a carbon because you lied. It's called shvus eidus. Now, what happens if you were there with your wife, and your wife is posel eidus, only a man is kosher eidus. So, and you both made a shvua that you were not there. It's a lie. You were there at 7 o'clock in East 17 and J. So you have to bring a carbon shvua. Your wife doesn't. Why? Because you could have come to say eidus for me. And you made now a shvua that you weren't there, but you really were there. But her, what's the difference? She made a shvua. She didn't make a shvua. She can't come to bed and testify anyway. So it's not shaykh to her to say that she made a shvua say this. She can't say this anyway.
Why
So-
edit only for men?
That's a good question. It's a good question. But look, that's what the Torah says. And the Gemara says, when we say shvua say this, what's this extra word? Elaberuin. Lamuta Mai, Papa Malamuta Melech. That also Melech, because Chacham said we don't want Melech to come testify in Bezdin. Oh, we don't want headaches. Once a Melech is involved in Bezdin, and once if he's not happy with what the Bezdin says, and it's not respectful for him, so forget about it. Keep a Melech out of Bezdin. Even if the Melech was on the scene of the crime, his testimony is not worth anything. This way we keep things simple and safe without the Melech and Bezdin. People that are playing and gambling. So the Gemara says, we spoke about the Kol Yom Rishon a few months ago about exactly, But it seems that the Gemara Lalocha said holds that it's Gneva derabon, not Gneva deraisa. Person that doesn't sacher bekudia. Or it depends if he's with a yid, with a goy, whatever. We're not going into. At this point in this Gemara, the Gemara holds the problem of a person that's gambling is that he's stealing miderabon. It's not stealing midiraisa. So therefore, midiraisa mech zichazim and the Torah, he really could bear witness. The Rabbanon the Poslu, and the Rabbanon said he's possible, and still he's part from Shvuah Sa'edus. So we see also when the Rabbanon make a din, the Rabbanon said that he can't be Eidus. And so we see that when the Rabbanon say something, he's not considered a Eidus because the Rabbanon said he's not a Eidus. And the Shvuah is Nachal. There's an extra pasuk that says, Vim lo yagid v'nosa. Why does the pasuk have? Why is the extra pasuk Vim lo yagid v'nosa avoinoi? There's extra words over there in the pasuk. I guess the pasuk didn't really have to say it because the pasuk before, pasuk after. Vim lo yagid v'hai lav baragodo hu klal. The Torah wanted to emphasize it doesn't matter why he can't go to Bezdin. If he's in a capsule in the moon, if he's in the space station, and that's why he can't say Eidus, and you Earth calling, Houston's calling, and they say, "Do you know Eidus?" No, I don't know Eidus. Make a shvua. I make a shvua. That shvua is not worth anything because he can't come to Bezdin anyway. He's on the moon right now. He's in the space station. It causes a special pasuk to say that it doesn't matter why he can't say the Eidus. If he, for whatever reason, he can't say Eidus, his hands are tied, he can't say Eidus, and then he made a shvua, even though if he lied, but since he anyway can't come to Bezdin, so therefore the shvua is nachal. But the Gemara wants to say, but otherwise, when the Rabbanon say something, even though going back to that, really we could say that a Shlokish hold, that a Birchen holds, Chatzi Shir is Osman HaTorah, that a half a kazais of ham is Osman HaTorah. He only gets malchus if he eats a whole kazais of ham. On Yom Kippur, he only gets malchus, he eats a whole kesevis, a half a kesevis, a half a kazais is potter. But it's awesome in HaTorah. The Shlokish Torah says it's mutam in HaTorah, it's only awesome that Rabbanon. So the Shlokish, so therefore, according to the Shlokish, it's simple why he's chayiv when a person made a shvua that according to the Shlokish and the Maskon, it's simple why a person that made a shvua that he won't eat nevelus atrefus, and he said even a half a shear, so that shvua is chal, because min Torah is only not allowed to eat a whole shear, even though the Torah said you have to listen to what the Rabbanon tell you. Doesn't matter. And here is important to know the lumdus. I spoke about this many times. It's a very geschmack lumdus that the Achronim talk about. The Torah says, there's Or Sameach about this. Beautiful Or Sameach in Pashas Eikev Davke. Oh, no, I think in Pashas Shoiftim. Or Sameach. The Or Sameach says like this. The Torah says that you have to listen to what the Lois Asman Adav Shekilach and Pashas Shoiftim. Next week's Pasha. So he says a mashal. He says if the king wants that there shouldn't be anarchy in this country. So the police says you have to pull over. You have to pull over. If you don't pull over, you get punished for not pulling over. The police are, pull over, red car, pull over. You have to pull over. What happens if you don't pull over? You get punished. But that cop is a crook. The other guy was speeding. I wasn't. The guy told you to pull over. Were you in a red car? You pulled over? No. You get punished for that. But why? But I could prove. I have a camera. I didn't speed. The other guy was speeding. No. The king wants, the authorities want, that it should be a rule of law. If the guy went on the loudspeaker and said the guy in the red car should pull over, and you didn't pull over, you get punished for it. Nishnagay, you did speed. You didn't speed this. Nishnagay. The cop told you to pull over, you didn't pull over, you get punished. Same thing over here says there is some echot. The Eibishter says, yeah, whatever Chum tell you have to listen. It's not that what they say is intrinsically important or unimportant. It's not like when they say you're not allowed to eat that this thing is intrinsically not kosher. It's kosher. But when they said you're not allowed to drink it, you're not allowed to drink it. The Eibishter wants you should listen to the cops.
Rabbi,
So-
the trooper in Jersey, if you don't stop to shoot you on the tires, you're allowed.
Okay, so then for sure you should pull over. But even if they don't shoot you in the tire, you have to pull over. Otherwise, you get punished for it. Why? Because that's what the authorities want. Because otherwise, the lays dinvil is dying. So the Osameach holds. Not everyone agrees with that, but that's the Havamin and the Maskon and the Gemara. That it's not the pshat when the Chacham say that you're not allowed to do something that's intrinsically wrong. It's not intrinsically wrong. When the Eibishter says you're not allowed to eat on Yom Kippur, it's intrinsically wrong. Chacham said you're not allowed to eat on Tisha B'Av, not intrinsically wrong. But when the cop said that you have to pull over, you got to pull over. Chacham said on Tisha B'Av not allowed to eat, not allowed to eat. Again, no questions asked. So that's the Havamina, the Maskon and the Gemara. The Havamina, the Gemara thought if the Chacham told you you're not allowed to do it, it's just as bad as a Torah telling you you're not allowed to do it. So you mushba b'oim of Bahar Sina not to eat a half a zayis of ham. So how could you shvur bichal? Well, the Maskon and the Gemara is no, that when the Torah tells you you're not allowed to eat Yom Kippur, you're not allowed to eat. When the Chacham tells you you're not allowed to eat in Tisha B'Av, it's just that you have to listen to what the cop tell you, but it's not intrinsically wrong. So when Chacham said you're not allowed to eat a half a kazayis of ham, it's not intrinsically wrong. Chacham said you're not allowed to, you have to listen. But if I made a shvua, I'm not gonna. But when I told it's it's not intrinsically wrong. And I made a shvua, I'm not gonna eat a chatzik kazayis of ham. And now I went against my shvua, so the shvua is chal, and I have to bring a korban shvua. So really, everything flows. That when it says Yom Kippur also b'chil b'shtia, it's to teach you that even a chatzis shir is also. But a chatzis shir is only the Rabbana, according to the Shlakish. But still, it makes sense that we said that it's minat Torah, it's really permissible. And therefore, if I made a shvua, I'm not going to eat a half a kazayis of ham. The shvua is chal.
If you make like a Yudarim before the Korban Shvur, right?
If he made that Taurus Nadorim, he could make at some point that Taurus Nadorim, yes.
See,
Shakol. And ham would be Shahakol. You don't make a bracha on something which is also Machila, but if it's also Machila B'deraisa, it's also, you're not allowed to make a bracha.
But yeah, so you don't make a bracha on something once you steal.
No.
Ever.
Ever.
Even if you're already.
Oh, if he's in danger, something else. But here we're not talking about when there's a person who's in danger. Okay, let's continue in the Gemara. Okay, let's continue. It's a new thing now. As I said, this is going to be a little bit of a tongue twister, this piece in the Gemara. Well, things are also that Rabbanon, not all of them. Things that depends, things that are also because of a suffix. We're not learning those halachas now, so I don't want to go into it. Okay, let's go back. As I said, the Gemara is going to go on a tongue twister, a little bit of a roller coaster. We're going back now to understand the mission. Sagt die Gemara v'chol eichad the Tani Onush Kodesh Loi Tani Yisur. The whole premise of the Gemara was that when it says Osur, it sounds like it's not Onush Kodesh. How could that be? Vatanya will not B'rais Afa B'Shamru Osur B'Kulon. Even though they said it's also 5 things on Yom Kippur, Loi Amru Onush Kodesh, they didn't say it's Kodesh. Ela La Oichla B'Shoyse V'Oisem Malacha B'Lavad. These 2 things, Achil Shtia and Malacha, if he does in Yom Kippur, there's Kodesh. And the other things, there's no Kodesh. So we see that also goes in things that are also not Kodesh. No. Shamru Asur, Loi Amru Ela B'Chatzi Shir. Asur is only in a Chatzi Shir. Avok Shir on his Kodesh. Avok Shir on his Kodesh. And in his Kodesh, Ela Loichel B'Shoyse V'Oisem Malacha B'Lavad. So anyway, the bottom line is, back to the original thing in the Gemara, that when it says Asur, it means Asur, but not Chayiv Kodesh. For the Chodesh, it's also Chayiv Kodesh. So the answer is because we're talking about a half a Shir. Second answer is Hikatoni also, when the Mishnah said also Ashara, it means in the other things. The 2 out of the 5 things is Kodesh. The other 3 are only also, but not Kodesh. The Tonu Rabbi Rabbi Yosef B'Shor Seipuri Devei Rav. There is Sifrei Devei Rav is really the Sifrei on Toras Kohanim on Vayikra. But the other ones are not so organized, and they're called Shor Sifrei Devei Rav on Shmois and Bamidbar and Dvarim. So over there, in one of the Braises, Benayim Yom Kippur, also Berechitza, the Sicha, Benenas Lasanol, B'Tashma Shamita, which is the other things besides Malacha. So Talmud Loimer Shabbosain the pasuk says Shabbos Shabbosan, an extra thing Shabbosan to tell you that there's also other things that are also are on Yom Kippur. How do we know these things? Dafka? I guess okay. And the extra word Shabbos, Shabbos. You have to be shavis from other things too. But it's not clear. So how do we know these things? Dafka? You have to say that the Torah was meramis to something, but really Allah that these are the other things. Okay, so let's summarize. The Mishnah says there's 5 things that are also in Kippur, and the Gemara says also sounds like there's no Kodesh. There's also Kodesh. The first answer is we're talking about Chatzi Shir. He only did half the amount, and according to the Torah, second answer is that we're talking that Isser is in the other 3 things. But Taka, on Achila B'Shtiya and Malacha, it's really Kodesh. Ufa, Chatzi Shir, a person that does the half a Shir of the Malacha. Why is it awesome? Because if you eat a half a kazais of ham, you could end up eating another half, and you have a whole kazais of ham. That the Torah says achila, and there's no achila here. Let's go quickly, and I'll just talk about it in a minute. Asked, we learned the Brais things that are clearly punishable. So the Torah clearly warned us not to eat it, not to do it. Koi, there's an animal which is a suffix if it's a chay or behem. So we know that when it comes to a behem, you're not allowed to eat the chayla. When it comes to a chicken and a chaya, you're allowed to eat the chayla. So what's if a person eats chayla from an animal which is called koi, and we don't know if it's a chay or behem, or if he eats the chayla which is a chatzi shir. You would think because he doesn't get punished, so it's not also. He was never warned not to do it. All the chaylev, not only kol chaylev, you're not allowed to eat. What's the extra word in the pasuk? Kol chaylev, loyte chaylev, chaylev loyte chaylev. What is kol chaylev? Because the Torah only punishes you if you eat a kazayis. The Torah said, but even though I only punish you if you eat a kazayis. But you're really not allowed to do the isur, even if it's a half a kazais, even if it's 1 crumb. Punishment is only for a kazais, but it's also even if it's 1 crumb.
But how about chaylev? So I didn't eat. Shkenazim doesn't eat.
No one eats chaylev.
No chaylev.
Torah says it. Now let eat chaylev of behemoth.
So which
the Sfardim say that they have a mashgiach that knows what's chaylev and what's not chaylev.
Right.
They don't eat chaylev. They eat the parts that are shuman, that are not chaylev.
Yeah, the shuman.
The shuman.
Speaking about the modern Hebrew, all fat for chaylev.
Right.
That's what always confusing.
You hear what Aaron says? It's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
I know one of the restaurants was doing things out. They flew him from the line to come to check the chaylev. To pay him to
Right.
come to check.
Right.
Wow.
Sagt the Gemara. No, because because Ein Onshim Elim came as heating. So obviously, because the Torah said all these things, Lo Toichelu, and Toichelu Chazal decided, or didn't decide, Kabul from Moshe and Rabbeinu Sinai, that Achila means kazais. So whenever the Torah says Lo Toichelu means you're not allowed to eat a kazais of this. And if you eat a kazayis, you're going to get punished. So, but if you eat a half a kazayis, it wasn't dazora. So maybe he's allowed to eat it. Therefore, the Torah added 1 word, kol chelav, loy chelu, to tell you, even though I'm not punishing you, dazora, and the oinish is only on a techelu. But kol chelav is to tell you, even a half of the shear, not allowed to have. Tell kol chelav. Ishlokish said, the rabon of a cross machta be'alma. It's only the cross. The pasuk is only on asmachta. Hachila mestaber. He says, "I bring you a rai. This is akadaita the raisa. If it's a raisa, koi sveiku. Yitzrach kol asu is sveika. Does the Torah have to teach you din lagabi asafik? That the lagabi the eibush there's no sveikas. The Torah is never going to teach you a chiddush lagabi asafik. So the Gemara says, nah, that's no raya. Or either way for the V'yechem Shlok. Shim Shemol LaYudim. Kesover koi biri b'fnei atzma. It's not that it's a suffer. We don't know. The eibush made it that it's a beria b'fnei atzma. It's not that I don't know and you don't know. The Eibishter made it should not be known. And therefore, the pasuk is to tell you what's the thing for a koi. Half kol asui koi, gabidam. That it's a koi sveiku. It's a rabu sveika. Ela beria shani. It's a separate beria. The Torah has to tell you what to do. L'gabi tzchelav on the dam. Shani oche beria shani. So therefore, you can be a raya not to Rabbi Yochanan, not to Shlokish. The bottom line is that Rabbi Yochanan and Shlokish have an argument, and there's a svara and there is a braisa. There's a pasuk and there's a svara. The pashtus, it's not two things. The pasuk says, "Don't eat kol chayla." Rabbi Yochanan is explaining why shouldn't you eat even a half a chayla? Why? So there's a beautiful machloikis that you have here between the Noida Yehuda and the Shagas Argit. It's very geshmak machloikis. In the whole Shas, we have this concept of machloikis of Rabbi Yochanan Shlokish. Chatzi shir, if a half a malach, anything which is less than the shir, according to Rabbi Yochanan, it's also min haTorah. According to the Shlokish, it's also the Ramon. Why is it also min haTorah? It sounds like a funny thing. Chazil it's tarufi. The Torah says, Kol chaylev, you're not allowed even a gram of the chaylev. It's like Siba v'Simon, if anyone was here for the shir Sunday night. Siba v'Simon, lumbus. They don't say these words, but the Noida Yehuda says like this. What happens if a person, one hika time, his timing is voila, excellent. He's a mamish mashiga in Gansen, and he decided 60 seconds or half a minute before Shkia, he's going to eat. He timed it. In 30 seconds, he can't eat more than a half a kesevis. He ate a half a kesevis. Say 30 seconds takes you to eat a half a kesevis. He ate before Shkia 1/2 a kesevis. A date. He ate a half a date. Okay? Say out of him. No. Motzi Yom Kippur. 30 seconds before Shkia, he ate a half a date. So he ate a half a shear. Chazil it's taruf, it could have been mitzdarev. Now it's already Shkia, it can't be mitzdarev. So now Rabbi Yochanan would agree that min haTorah he wasn't over any issue. Min haTorah he was not over any issue because it's not chazil it's taruf. Rabbi Yochanan is explaining this is the siba. Why did the Eibishter say kol chaylev? You can eat half. And meaning only a little piece of ham. It's gishmak. No, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait 10 minutes till I'm going to eat the other half a kazayas of ham. Smells good. I'm going to make like some sorry for 7 minutes. I'm going to wait 4 minutes. Chazil it's taruf. And slippery slope.
Yeah.
So don't eat. But if it's not shaykh that it's taruf, the Eibishter said not to eat on Yom Kippur. And now it's the last 10 seconds of Yom Kippur. And in 10 seconds, you can't eat a whole day. You can only eat a half a day. That's not what the Eibishter said. There's a long Shagasai, he disagrees. He says Chazil Tzarufi is a theoretical thing. It doesn't mean that Mamash has to be Chazil Tzarufi. It's not the Siba of the Yisr. It's just to show you like why the Eibishter meant it. But that's not the Siba of the Yisr. It's a simon. It's not the Siba. Anyway, it's interesting machloikus. Okay, let's go quick. Tana Rabban says, "Ta'anus nafshei seichem." We're holding 5 lines from the top. Tafayin Dalad Amid Aleph. I'm sorry, Dain on base. That's the other one. That's nafshei seichem. Tana Rabban. Ta'anus nafshei seichem. Yochel yeshu b'chama b'tzina kadesh yitztar. A person thinks, you know what? Maybe when the Eibishter says I should torture myself on Yom Kippur, I should sit in the scorching hot or in the freezing cold. Just like malacha means sit and don't do malacha. It's a type of things that shev al tas. No, still the Gemara says say heichad diyosa b'shimsha. If in New York and it's 100 degrees, don't turn on the air conditioner. You're not allowed to stand up and go into shade. Yosef betula, the corridor light, if you're sitting in a place that's very shady, it's freezing. You have to stay wherever you are. If it's scorching hot, stay there. Don't put on the air conditioning. Duma de malach is a Gemara. No. That's not the pshat of Inu. Duma de malach, ma malach mechalakta ba. The malacha means it's be'etzem, I think. If he's standing in a place that it's out of, if he's standing in a place that it's not what it means. They can be machalik. In other words, it doesn't make sense. Just like malach is a state. You're not allowed to do malach on Shabbos. That's what it means. It's hard to, the Gemara says it's hard to, the B'rai says it's hard to say that the Eibush says you should torture yourself on Yom Kippur. If it happens to be 100 degrees, don't turn on the air conditioner. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't click in your mind to say that's pshat. Tanya Yidachal another B'rai. Tanis nafshasechem, you should be ma'ana. You should pain your nefesh. You should sit in the heat, in the cold. Just like malacha and Shabbos, what does malacha mean? Something that you're not allowed to do. We know on Shabbos you're not allowed to do malacha. Inu is something that we know from other places in the Torah you're not allowed to do. What are you not allowed to do? Ezu is a pigul v'noiser. If you thought to eat this carbon after the Zman, or if you actually have extra after 2 days, after 1 day, the carbon, you're not allowed to eat it. Avi, so the Gemara says, no, Avi pigul v'noiser, shehem bekaretz v'loy v'satevel. So I would say that that you're not allowed to eat pigul v'noiser on Yom Kippur, but you're allowed to eat tevel, shehem bekaretz. Tamalam ta'anu v'nisam. It says a double losh tanu, and the other place the pasuk says v'nisam is nafshaseicha. Riba, to say any type of food you're not allowed to eat. Obviously, so at least nevela is not b'misa that you're allowed to eat Yom Kippur. There's a double lotion to include any type of eating. The riba to be marbe. Obviously, nevela shubalav, obviously chulin she'ena balav. They're allowed to eat at least chulin on Yom Kippur. Riba, anything you're not allowed to eat. Obviously, chulin she'ena bekum v'achel. Obviously, truma should become a chel. It's a mitzvah to eat truma. Again, ta'ana b'nisam. The riba, anything you're not allowed to eat. Obviously, truma she'ena b'bal tasira, but obviously, kochim she'ena b'bal tasira. Your mama, you have to eat it, and if you don't eat it, you're oiven b'al tasira. Again, ta'ana b'nisam shezechem riba, anything. So here is another brayse, and we're going to have several brayses where we learn that you're not allowed to eat on Yom Kippur. And if you want, there's another way to learn. It says that a person that doesn't keep Yom Kippur sacred, the punishment is what makes a person die? If the person doesn't eat and drink, he dies. Why would you not like? Why does the Braisa find itself fault in its first limud? The first limud was that we compare it that it says ta'anu v'nisa. So because you would think that inu is a word that the word in inu usually refers to refraining from intimacy. Arayis. No, it's also achila v'shtiya. Very be small toner and the shiva to be small. They learn like this. It says by Yom Kippur you have to do inu. It says when the Yidden are standing before going to Eretz Yisrael, the Moshe Rabbeinu gave them a long speech. Based essentially the whole parsha of Dvarim is a long speech that Moshe Rabbeinu gave the Yidden. Last week's parsha it says Mahalan inu b'ravav kan inu b'ravav. It says Moshe Rabbeinu said that as we will say soon that the Eibishter vayancha vayerivecha vachilcha samon. So just like by Mon, it says vayancha vayerivecha that because they ate Mon, there was a torture. As we'll soon explain. The same thing here. When it says you have to be tortured on Yom Kippur, it means not to eat. That the inu means not to have intimacy. So no, don't inu the rabbim inu the rabbim inu the rabbim inu the yoch. Over there, Lavan was talking to Yaakov and said he was like a big tzaddik. He said, "Don't mistreat my daughters." So, but that was only a private conversation. It says in the Haggadah. It's an interesting thing. The Gemara here is quoting a piece of the Haggadah Shel Pesach. It's an unusual thing. The Gemara is quoting a piece of the Haggadah Shel Pesach. That maybe when the Torah says on Yom Kippur you have to torture yourself, it means you're not allowed to have intimacy. So it says, and that's how we learn. Because the Eibusha gave the Yidden the man to torture them. The Bami v'the Bas Chadam ein Adam Mishesh lepas Basalom Mishein lepas Basalom Chadam ein Adam Misherevech Mishein Revech. That oh, wait, I have to wait. I'm gonna have to tell you. There's a moedidige Maimon from the Rebbe. The Rebbe said, "Lekovid his father's yortzeit." And Ayancha bar Yivecha. I'll talk about him. Why was it so painful for them? There's two opinions. One is when you see the food in your basket, you're not hungry. But if you get a portion, you don't have any more food in the pantry. You're always hungry because you don't know where your next meal is going to come from. Another pshat is when you see your food, you enjoy it. But if you eat in the darkness, you don't enjoy your food. The Gemara is going to say later that Mon had any taste in the world. If you wanted to have vanilla ice cream, it was vanilla ice cream. And if you wanted to have chocolate ice cream, it was chocolate ice cream. If you wanted the ice cream with sprinkles, it was with sprinkles. If you wanted it without sprinkles, it was without sprinkles.
If you want to be pious,
Whatever it is, you could have, but you don't see it. So because you don't see it, so therefore it's inu. The Gemara continues. The Gemara says, that's why people that are blind eat, but they're never satisfied. A person doesn't have a lot of food. If you only have a little bit of food, eat it by day. Because when you can see the food, you get double the calories intake by looking at your food. That the sexual experience is that what he sees with his eyes is more than the actual experience. The Ben Ish Chai says from here that what the Gemara is trying to say is that a person sometimes goes out in the Shus Rabim and he looks at a woman. Says, "What's the big deal? I didn't do anything. I didn't. I just looked at a pretty woman. What's the big deal?" So the Gemara is saying that Mare Inayim is stronger than Gufish Almaisa. That the tail end is the Gufish Almaisa. But the Mare Inayim is really just like when a person eats. So the food, it gives you half the calories is from eating. The other half the calories is from looking and smelling and seeing the food. That's exciting. That's really the experience of eating food. The same thing here to say. It says, I'm not doing any Avedis. I didn't touch any woman. I didn't touch anything. But the Made Naim goes very deep because it's part of the experience. Not only because it brings you, because it's part of the experience. Yeah.
you can get so excited that your foot wouldn't be able to be in its shoe.
So, what's the pshat? We said here that from Yom Kippur, how do we know you're not allowed to eat on Yom Kippur? Torah says you have to torture yourself. And where did we learn it from? Because it says, by the month, that that the Eibush tortured you and gave you the mon. What's the connection over here? Did he really torture them?
No.
They ate. What's the pshat? So the way to understand it is with the learning a little bit from the Rebbe's Maimer. The kid said is like this. The Rebbe gave a Maimer to cover his father's yortzeit. And this is an interesting tidbit that I learned about this week. This was written by the famous Mashpia, Rabbi Khan, who wrote all the Maimonim of the Rebbe. He would listen to them. He had unbelievable memory. He'd write them up. And he gave it to the Rebbe. Sometimes the Rebbe was masking, it was magia. Over the years, he had interesting experiences. This Maimer, he said that the Rebbe liked in general the way he wrote it. The Rebbe made several corrections. But one correction was an interesting correction. The Rebbe's big koch in the Maimer is about Vayancha Vayarivech. So he wrote that when he wrote the name of the Maimer, he wrote that the name of the Maimer is he wrote the name of the Maimer is Vayancha Vayarivech. As you see soon, there's a beautiful thing about. I mentioned this in the past that the Rebbe had a big koch, and the Rebbe spoke about it in 42 years, come out every year before Yom Kippur. That there's a apich sidus, that there's l'chayosim barov. There's an Indian not only that you're fasting Yom Kippur, that I'm so excited I don't want to eat. I'm living off my fast. I'm living off my fasting. It's very hard to do it, but it has to be like that excitement. L'chayosim barov.
It's been like that.
L'chayosim barov. That I'm excited. and I'm living off the fasting, like I'm a mamish, like malachim. I'm living off the fasting. Okay, I don't know that Rebbe probably did it that way. But the name of the mom is Vayancha Vayarivech. The Rebbe added Vayachilcha. It's not for every year. You don't name a mime of Vayancha Vayarivech. Vayancha Vayarivech Vayachilcha. Anyway, what's the point? The Rebbe says like this. That there's two parts of Torah. There's a part of the Torah that satisfies a person, and there's a part of the Torah that makes always a person very hungry. Torah is called lachmi, lachma balachmi. Like when a Torah learns nigla, you understand it well and you digest it, and it's good. It's like it satisfies you. When you learn pnimius Torah, the secrets of the Torah, it always there's more. You're not learning the mahus, learning about the metzias of the Eibishter. You don't really grasp the mahus, so therefore you're always getting more hungry. So that's a type of achilu sheyesh ba'inu. It makes you more hungry. And within learning Pnimis Torah Gufa, there's two types of learning Pnimis Torah. The Alter Rebbe writes in one of the Igeres HaKodesh that there's two points of why he has to learn Pnimis Torah. One is Mitzvah Roma V'Nesot, to know Seder Shtalshus. The Eibishter, L'man Das Hashem L'kecha, to know the Eibishter. And the one is L'avdeu Ve'Leiva Shalom, because when you learn Pnimis Torah, it helps us have Yiddish Shemayim. So you have Pnimis Torah. So the parts that L'avdeu Ve'Leiva Shalom, at least it's tangible. It helps us have Yiddish Shemayim. It's like when you learn the Torah, it gives you a jolt. We learn the Maimer, and it helps you have Yiddish Shemayim. And then you learn that Eber Hashav, I am base, like a telephone, the thing. It doesn't, and it makes you hungry. It doesn't satisfy you. So there's two types. So that's the Vayan. When the Yidden ate them on, it was a spiritual thing. And the Eibishter was giving with them not Stam Torah. They was giving them Pnimis Torah. And also the Pashtus, the Rebbe says like this. Why is it when a person thinks they have money in the bank, you really have money in the bank? Everything the Eibishter's hand, they're all puff away in a second. The person sees that's money, that's 100, 200, 300, 400, looks at his pantry. There's lotion, there's ketchup, there's Baruch Hashem. There was a hunger that broke out today in New York. If COVID hit again, at least, and you can't go out, at least I can feed my family for 3 weeks.
Gonna survive Pesach.
And Baruch Hashem. But the emes is that it's all in the Eibishter's hands. The Eibishter showed them that every day there was nothing left in their pantries. It became Teiloim. There was zero left in the pantry, in the Eibishter's hands completely. Tomorrow, the Eibishter give tomorrow. So a person that's independent, that's not bottled to the Eibishter, that's unbelievably painful. But I see not a morsel of food in my pantry. I have to trust the Eibishter. The same thing with the taste. The man had everything tasting in it. Why? Because in this world, if it's orange juice, it's not apple juice. Apple juice, not orange juice. You can't taste orange juice and apple juice and orange juice. You can't. But the man, which is a heavenly food, it was bleak wool. You can taste anything in it. It's not shaykh to say there's something you cannot taste in it. Yet, it was called re'ov. It made them hungry. Because a person that it didn't make them, it really made them satisfied. But here's the secret: it only makes you satisfied if you're bittul to the Eibishter. If you're totally bottled to the Eibishter, like a Yid on Yom Kippur, with total bottled to the Eibishter, and you're eating man, you feel every taste in it. You feel satisfied. Everything, it's delicious. There's nothing more delicious. Every taste in the world is in it. It's bleak wool. And there's everything in it. But if a person is disconnected, is not total bittul, I see no food in my pantry. I'm hungry. It's at night. What's going to be tomorrow? Is going to be any food? Who knows what's going to be tomorrow? You're telling me ice cream, vanilla. I don't see the vanilla. I don't see the chocolate. What's Haxtaman vanilla and chocolate? But if a person is bottled to the Eibishter, he's not worried about these things. He's totally not worried. That's why there's an interesting thing. The Gemara says that the Achalta v'Savota, the first bracha and benching, Moshe Rabbeinu made when they made the mon, when they got the mon. The second bracha is when Yeshua made when they went into Eretz Yisrael. So why are we saying now that we don't eat mon today? A Yid has to try to eat mon. A Yid has to try to feel that my parnasa is from the Eibishter. And the Rebbe Marash said that today B'chal parnasa is like mon. In other words, maybe there were times that people could fool themselves. If a person really looks today, you see that the parnas is from the Eibishter. So that was the Vayancha Vayarivecha. The Eibishter didn't torture the Yidden. The Pasuk said that you should know that the Yidden lives from the Eibishter. So the oven was that they didn't see it, but if they were bottled and they had Amunah and Betochen and the Eibishter, then they were satisfied. Not only they were satisfied, but they had every flavor and every taste in their mouth. So the same thing. That's why the Inyan of Yom Kippur, it makes sense that Yom Kippur we learn from the Mon, because on Yom Kippur, which is a day of Lachayoisam Barov, that Ayid, it's the Eibishter doesn't want you to suffer on Yom Kippur. On Tisha B'Av, we say, how can we eat when the Yidden Nebuch the Beis Hamikdash is burning? Yom Kippur is not that. How could you eat? The Beis Hamikdash is not burning. It's an exciting day. We're dressing in white like the Malach Yeshodas. It's a different type of inu. It's like Vayancha Vayarivecha Vayachilcha Samon. It's similar to the Achilas Hamon. That's why the Rebbe says, that's what Chassidus emphasizes so much, that on Yom Kippur, it's not the pshat that we're not eating and we have to feel hungry. On Shiva Sabbatamuz, Tisha B'Av, we identify with the pain and suffering of the Jews. So we're not eating. They didn't have what to eat. Nebuch, even in the Holocaust, didn't have what to eat. And Yom Kippur, really at Tisha B'Av, you feel sometimes, you think what our grandparents went through. The Pashtush got to Essen, and the Tzoni Yisrael were knocking at the door. But that's not the point on Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is not. That's not. Yom Kippur is Vayancha Vayarivecha, just like in when Lamano Idiacha, that when you're disconnected from the Eibishter, you're worried, you have a lot of anxiety, and you can't see the food, and you're nervous, and you're full of anxiety. But if you're buttoned to the Eibishter and you're in the Eibishter's hands, you're very calm. And Adirabah, there's bleakful taste in your food. Same thing on Yom Kippur. We learn Yom Kippur from the Mon, because just like your Mon was when you give yourself into the Eibishter's hands, not only we're not hungry, but you're the tachlis of calmness and the tachlis of oineg. The same thing on Yom Kippur. We have to give ourselves over to the Eibishter in such a way that lachayoisam barov, that we feel chayes from the inui. That's the type of, it's not just a limud be'alma that the Gemara is giving us an exercise. Obviously, we know we have to fast Yom Kippur. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu said we have to do. The Pesukim are teaching us what's the inyan of Yom Kippur. As I said, we're learning now, not only the Gemara, but we're getting ready to learning the Gemara and Shulchan Aruch, Mitzvah Hashem, to go into Rosh Hashanah in a way, and Yom Kippur in a way, to Shavak Simach Samatova, Shana Tova, and so
Amen. Where did we end off?
we landed off at the last line of that Ayin Daladam at the base. The last line, Mare Einayim Mahalach Nefesh.
Oh, right.
They were talking about our name.
Yeah. Amri Shlokish, Tev Mare Einayim Be'isha Yosem Guf Shanayis Hashem Tev Mare Einayim Mahalach Nefesh. It's all about Paz Besala, not Paz Besala. Okay.
We're up to the Pasuk, Ethan.
Kiyitin, yes. We're on by the Pasuk Kiyitin, the Koisa area. Yeah.
Put it away for next time.
Yeah, let's put it away.
Which
Thank
king
you.
got so excited that he couldn't put his foot in his shoe?
That's the Gemara in Kiyitin. Oh, thank you so much for joining us. We're learning the last Perek in Meseches Yoma. We're getting ready. For Yoma Godel.
Thank you.
Good night.